Welcome to Inner Swim, a space for anyone called to tune within. If you're intuitive, creative, a deep feeler, earth lover, or a sensitive soul, you'll feel right at home here. I'm Jaylyn, a wellness mentor and yoga teacher supporting women to reconnect with their inner truth, root into their authentic energy, and live in harmony with their nature. So let's pour a tea and dive in. I'm so glad you're here. Hey friends, welcome back to the Inner Swim podcast. Today we're talking high quality rest. So if you are chronically exhausted, irritable, or stressed, if you're having hormonal issues, or just feel generally despondent, lackluster, lacking your spark or your creativity, these are all signs that you could use some high quality rest. So let's define high quality rest. What do we mean by that? And how is it different from quote unquote regular rest? So essentially, high quality rest is where your body and mind can be in an effortless state. So yes, we experience rest every night when we sleep, but we don't always remember receiving that rest. We don't always remember what happened during that rest. And so there's something special that happens when we keep our awareness and our conscious awareness during rest, when we're aware of the rest. Something magical happens where we cultivate this really lovely experience with ourselves and we get to know ourselves a little bit better. Also, if you are chronically exhausted, irritable, stressed, lackluster, if any of this sounds like you, chances are you are already not sleeping well. In fact, we can add sleep troubles to that list of symptoms and signs that you're needing high quality rest during your day in a wakeful state, maybe even daily for a little while. High quality rest during the day will help you sleep at night. And when we sleep better, of course, all aspects of our lives are able to function well and we feel alive and connected. So all of that to say, yes, sleep is rest, but there is a different flavor when we're talking about this high quality rest. I would even say there's a bit of a meditative element when we talk about true high quality rest. Because again, you're taking that time to introspect, to turn within, and you're doing that with intention and with conscious awareness. So before we dive into 3 ways that you can drink in some high quality rest starting today, even right after this podcast, I just want to acknowledge what high quality rest is not, because I think this will be helpful for us. So high quality rest is not lounging in front of the TV watching a show or a movie. High quality rest is not spending time with friends or family. High quality rest is not taking a fancy vacation, although you could experience high quality rest on that fancy vacation. But as a sidebar, sometimes vacations do the opposite of bringing us into a restful state. Depends what kind of vacation we're having. Needless to say, high quality rest is something essential to us, is a birthright to us, and it's something that is meant to be available to us at any time, right where you are, in your home, and without having to spend thousands of dollars to, kind of get away from your life so that you can then relax. I also want to say, before we dive into those 3 ways to drink in some high quality rest today, it's interesting how in our modern times we need to distinguish between high quality rest and time spent numbing out and tuning out. It's interesting because being in this restful state that I'm talking about is, like I said, essential to us. It's innate to us. It's like a home base and a home frequency to us. But because of our modern technologies like TV, like phones, these devices have allowed us to experience a sort of pseudo relaxation. We might think that we're relaxing because we're just kind of lounging and scrolling or watching, but actually, when we are using devices or even just hanging out with friends, we are still quite stimulated. And so, things like even books, phones, and TVs, although they are cool devices and technology has a lot of positives, it doesn't allow for the high quality rest, because in high quality rest, in that state, the body and mind are totally effortless, meaning there should be as minimal stimulation as possible. So little to no stimulation in high quality rest. Okay, so let's talk about those 3 ways to drink in some high quality rest. Number 1 is very simply doing nothing. Doing nothing. So take a moment, if you like, and just reflect on when's the last time you truly did nothing? When's the last time you truly just lay down and did nothing without going to sleep, but just being with yourself, literally staring at the ceiling or staring up at the sky, just closing your eyes even and being in a state of blissful nothingness? And okay, I say blissful, but maybe for some of us, doing nothing doesn't sound so blissful. For some, it may even sound scary. But I promise you, if you can lay in bed or lay on your couch, eyes open or closed, and just do nothing for even 5, 10, 15 minutes, little by little, your capacity for nothingness will grow again, and you will be able to be in that state of nothingness, and then it will become blissful for you. Now, if you are chronically tired and fatigued, you might say, okay, I'm gonna spend 10 minutes just laying down and closing my eyes, and you may even fall asleep, and that's okay. If your body falls asleep, then it needs that sleep. But as you practice and you come back to this doing nothing, sooner or later you will start to have a little more wakefulness in these states, and then it becomes like a sort of restful, meditative state with yourself, just a little space to introspect, to turn within, to rest your eyes, rest your brain, rest your sensory organs, and rest your body. So in this doing nothing state, this is not the time to plan or organize or analyze, although you may experience some insights and little aha moments. And that's a beautiful side effect of creating a little space for yourself. So after your little space of doing nothing, you might like to have a journal to write down any inspirations or, next steps that feel like you feel really called to. But all of that is not exactly the point of the doing nothing. The point of doing nothing is truly to take time off from doing. So instead of doing, you are simply being. So doing nothing and being are synonymous. So spend time simply being. And if you feel bored in that state, totally fine. Let yourself be bored. Being bored these days is actually like a skill, remembering how to be bored. And it's healthy for us to be bored, and it's a sign that we are taking a little time and space to not be stimulated, which is quite healthy for our brains and our nervous systems. Also, we're opening up to new and creative ideas. Maybe they haven't quite landed yet, but we are at least open and not cluttering or distracting or numbing out. So spend a little time being, spend a little time doing nothing. Okay, way number 2 to drink in some high quality rest, restorative yoga. So you may have heard of restorative yoga. If you haven't, it's essentially a supported yoga, physical yoga practice. So in a typical 60-minute restorative yoga class, you would take maybe just 5 or 6 yoga poses with props, pillows, bolsters, blankets. So the postures are very supported. And the idea is that your body is able to completely let go into those supports. And we're not really deeply stretching in a restorative yoga class. Instead, the idea is to put your body in a good shape, in a good place, where you can then turn within and enter a meditative state. And this has wonderful healing effects on your nervous system. It's also a beautiful practice for cultivating your relationship with yourself or self-study, swadhyaya. You are able to process emotions that come up, thoughts that come up. And some days when we go into restorative yoga poses, there is a lot that's ready to come up and it just kind of floods you. And other days there is a lot of space and a lot of nothingness in the brain and the mind, and both are great. So if you live in an area where there are yoga studios, it's worth checking if there are restorative yoga classes at your local studio. And either way, there are definitely a ton of restorative yoga resources, say on YouTube, online. And you can even find full-length classes on YouTube, or even 20 to 30-minute sessions on YouTube, totally free. So you'll know if your restorative yoga teacher on YouTube knows what they're talking about, if they are guiding you to fully support your physical body in the poses, if they're guiding you to maybe grab some pillows and blankets, and if they're taking a lot of time to set up the poses and giving you a lot of time to be in them, even up to 10 minutes per pose. So I do have a YouTube channel. It's Inner Swim on YouTube. I don't have any restorative yoga classes on my YouTube channel yet, but perhaps one day. So just so you know, check out Inner Swim on YouTube. And maybe one day we'll have some restorative yoga on there. I do have yin yoga, although yin is a little more effortful than restorative yoga. Restorative is perhaps the most effortless form of physical asana practice or practice of yoga poses. So I really encourage you to check that style of yoga out. And then thirdly, last but not least, my perhaps favorite way to drink in high quality rest is a yoga nidra. So I know I talk about this practice a lot. I'm so deeply passionate about it because there really is no part of our lives and layer of our being that is not benefited from a practice of yoga nidra, and especially a regular practice, consistent practice of yoga nidra. So yoga nidra means wakeful sleep or conscious sleep. So in yoga nidra, you lay down on your back or on your side, on your bed or on your couch or wherever you feel comfortable, maybe on the ground. And you're invited to close your eyes and you're guided through a deep rest meditation. So I love this practice. I think one of the reasons why I love it so much is because of how accessible it is. So maybe you don't have 60 minutes plus to go to your local yoga studio to go to a class. And maybe you don't have an hour to just do nothing, or maybe you really struggle with doing nothing on your couch. For yoga nidra to be effective, for it to really deeply nourish your body, your nervous system, your mind, and even your soul, your essence, for it to really touch into all of those layers of your being. The way it's designed, it's so effective and it's so beautifully designed, this practice, that it really only takes about 15 minutes to get a really deep dose of high quality rest. So the idea with Yoga Nidra practices, at least one of them, is that you turn your sensory organs inward. You turn your sensory organs inward to perceive inwardly. So it's similar to the way we go inside of ourselves in sleep at night, but where the magic and the medicine happens is that we are conscious of that process and we are technically awake in that process, even though our body is allowed to sleep and deeply rest. And our thinking mind, our cognitive mind too, is allowed to totally turn off and rest. And so you enter a sort of trance-like state where you're neither asleep and you're not awake fully, but you're in this in-between, really lovely state where you're just totally receiving. You're totally in a receptive state, and it's so nourishing for all the layers of your being. So I definitely encourage you to check out Yoga Nidra. I do have a 7-day free access to my Yoga Nidra library on innerswim.com/library. So if you want to dive right in and check it out, you can access, we have, I think, over 100 Yoga Nidra practices of all different lengths in the library, and you can access that within just a couple of minutes from now for 7 days totally free at innerswim.com/library. You can also find me on Insight Timer, on the Insight Timer app. I have some free Yoga Nidra practices there. And also on my YouTube channel, I have a few free ones on there too, but to be honest, I kind of stopped uploading my nidras to YouTube because YouTube was putting ads in the middle of my video and I had no control over that. So I didn't think it was great to be disrupted in the middle of such a deep meditation. So anyway, best places to find my free nidras are innerswim.com/library, the Insight Timer app, and even right here on the podcast. Almost forgot to mention, I do upload occasional free nidras here on the podcast. So if you scroll through previous episodes, you'll find at least a few. Try it out, see if it resonates with you. And if it does resonate with you like it does me, it will just become a part of your life, and it's something that you can turn to. So that's what I've got for you today. Drinking in high quality rest. And I just want to close this off by saying too that if you are a person with a menstrual cycle and you're experiencing hormonal issues or hormonal imbalances, or even if you're menopausal and you're experiencing hormonal imbalances, drink in this high quality rest as much as you can. When we're chronically stressed, when we're chronically depleted, our hormonal system goes totally out of whack and we become flooded with stress hormones. And there's very little production, very little room in our system for the production of sex hormones, those hormones that are responsible for our hormonal well-being, our cycle health, our fertility, our happiness. So if you're a person with a menstrual cycle, I encourage you to take this high quality rest, especially during menstruation. And this is an important thing for those of us with a menstrual cycle, because if you take high quality rest while you are menstruating, while you're in that first phase, that seeding phase of the cycle, that inner winter, then you will be filling up your inner resources and your inner storehouse, so to speak, for the rest of the cycle ahead. So if there's any time in the cycle where it's especially important to take this high quality rest, it's at the very beginning, during the bleed time, during the inner winter. That's the most important time to be taking time to just be, to maybe try some restorative yoga poses, to try deep rest meditations, but mostly just spend time just off, just spend time off. So that's officially all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you found a little nugget of inspiration or a little piece of guidance, something to take with you. And if you have, please share it with a friend or a loved one who could also maybe use some high quality rest. Hey, we can all use some high quality rest. And the more we prioritize our rest, the more fulfilled we will feel in body, mind, and soul. And it's not like we get to this point where we no longer need this high quality rest, or we no longer appreciate it. It just becomes a part of our life. It becomes a part of who we are, and we start to embody these deep rest states that just make us feel so connected and so good and so at ease, that we then spread that sense of ease and well-being into all of the things that we do, into all of our relationships, and especially that most important relationship, the one with yourself. So I encourage you, take some high quality rest today. Not if you can, but say that you will. Prioritize rest in your life, and you will receive an abundance of energy, creativity, and just general feelings of connection and love. So it's really an essential connection for us as human beings. And if we take even 1% shifts toward prioritizing more high quality rest in our lives, then sooner or later we will realize its importance and it will become top priority. And that is a world, to me, that is healing and that is whole. So rest well, be well, take care. Thanks for being here and listening, dear one. You can find all of my offerings at innerswim.com. And if you feel called to go deeper into this work, I encourage you to check out intuitive practices like womb yoga, energy healing, yoga nidra, and more. I can't wait to connect with you. I'll see you over at Inner Swim. With love, Jaylyn.